Let me share this one. This is today. Planned Parenthood. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Why am I not sharing this? Add to stream. Planned Parenthood exec found dead after child raid on his home. This is an article from this morning.
It's funny that all these pedophiles all kind of have the same job.
What's up with that? Why would that be a thing? Because they were finding communities that are very accepting. Okay, this says a Planned Parenthood exec was found dead after his home was raided. He was 36. Tim was the director of strategic communications at the Southern New England branch of Planned Parenthood. His apartment in New Haven was raided by authorities last week. His arrest drew additional media attention after police mistakenly raided the wrong home. Investigators broke down the door of the neighbor and handcuffed her before realizing they had raided the wrong apartment.
How do you do that, too? How do you do that?
I mean,
how do you have a warrant for someone's house that says apartment 3B, and you go to door 3A and go, fuck it, let's do this one?
Let's go. I know. I mean, that's how people get shot.
Right? Because if I'm in apartment 3A and someone kicks in my door, I'm shooting up the door.
It says investigators handcuffed her while police have yet to name the guy as a suspect in this child sex crimes probe. Authorities did confirm the man who committed suicide in the apartment was a suspect. He was found dead. This person's suspect. He appeared to post regularly on social media until December. Pictures of his godchildren, family, friends, and work events laid bare his life in the months prior to his death. Yurgo was the suspect in the CP investigation. However, during his time at Planned Parenthood, Yurgo was part of an art making and letter writing workshop writing 247 love letters to abortion. We're going to look at that. He said at the time of the event that the notes may become an installation at the Whitney Avenue office. Let's read them.
He's writing propaganda for the fucking...
Share this tab. Planned Parenthood pens 247 love letters to abortion. I don't understand this. So, do you think he's like, I need to kill all the babies so that I don't want them?
That could be like God's way of trying to stop.
I mean,
if there's nothing to fuck, I won't, right?
I don't know what the story is. I'm not even reading it. Abortion is healthcare.
Why does an abortion clinic need to infiltrate and brainwash? Planned Parenthood is made $1 billion business, and if you're not paying for your abortion, how are they making the money? They're selling the stem cells. It's just a harvest. Body harvesting. Yeah, it's just body harvesting. Same thing China's doing. So China does it with prisoners.
Well, do you remember? I think Project Veritas did a lot of the undercover stuff where they were talking about how much the different parts were and intact this and literally selling arms and selling hearts and lungs and just different pieces of the aborted fetuses.
Now a story we guarantee most of you have never heard before. Big money is being made from the sale of fetal body parts.
Even the most ardent pro-choice advocates, like Planned Parenthood President Gloria Felt, are disturbed by what we found.
It seems inappropriate, totally inappropriate. Where there is wrongdoing, it should be prosecuted and should be brought to justice.
I'm the medical director for the national office for all of the affiliates. Every provider has had patients who want to donate their tissue, and they absolutely want to come to it. I'm going to throw a number out. I would say it's probably anywhere from $30 to $100, depending on the facility and what's involved.
The $30 to $100 price, that's per specimen that we're talking about, right? Yeah.
Yes.
How much of a difference can it actually make if you know what's expected or what we need versus?
It makes a huge difference. I'd say a lot of people want liver, and for that reason, most providers put this case under ultrasound guidance, so they'll know where they're putting their forceps. So then you're just kind of cognizant of where you put your breast grips. You try to intentionally go above and below the thorax so that, we've been very good at getting hard, long liver, because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see that get intact.
So yesterday was a clinic day. So what, for example, like what did you procure?
I asked her at the beginning of the day what she wanted. Yesterday she's been at, a lot of people want intact parts these days because they're looking for specific notes. AV notes, SA. I was like, wow, I didn't even know. Good for them. Yesterday was the first time she said people wanted lungs. And then, like I said, always as many intact livers as possible. People just want
livers.
Some people want lower extremities too, which that's simple. I mean, that's easy. I don't know what they're doing with it. I guess they want muscle.
Yeah, a dime a dozen.
For example, so I had 8 cases yesterday, and I knew exactly what we needed, and I kind of looked at the list, and I said, all right, this 17-weeker has 8 grams, and this. So I knew which were the cases that were probably more likely to yield what we needed, and I made my decisions according to that too. So it's worth having a huddle at the beginning of the day.
They've been doing this since 1989, the same year that I was born. That means that the first kids they parted out and sold would be my age today if they had not been killed by the lethal intersection of abortion, organ trafficking, and fetal experimentation.
I can see hearts that are not in an intact POC that are beating independently.
The Federal Born Alive Infants Protection Act mandates that the U.S. Code apply equally to an infant born alive at any gestational age, even after an abortion. The federal law defines born alive as a fetus with a beating heart.
Is that true that you've had a patient deliver in the operating room a non-viable fetus?
I'm sure I have.
What do you mean by a non-viable fetus?
A fetus that's not capable of survival.
And how do you define that?
I don't define that. Viability is, I do define that sometimes.
Okay, so
there's many criteria you can use to determine viability.
And what are those criteria?
Depends on where you work.
Okay, where you work. What are those criteria where you work?
Viability is determined on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, and what are the criteria you use to evaluate viability?
You can use different things: estimated fetal weight, gestational age, the health of the fetus, the availability of interventions.
And based on those criteria, you make the determination as to whether the fetus is viable or non-viable?
On a case-by-case basis, the physician determines if a fetus is viable, yes.